April 1995, with her sparkly Frances Forest being the location of a major tragedy between a couple. Frances Dizon, 20 years old university student, did not return home from university on the afternoon 29 March and found died on the roadside fully clothed with sparkle bag, books, and wallet of deceased. John Serrature, 28 years old, who had boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with the Dizon over 4 to 5 years, was arrested and charged with the murder. Their relationship began worse when John verbally abusing and physically assaulting her. Before the incident, the Dickies had arranged to meet the appellant on the afternoon of 29 March after university lecture. The deceased body bore a number of injuries to the neck, face, and fingers, consistent with strangulation, and others with attempting to fight off the attacker. As the result from the post-mortem examination, the cause of death is due to strangulation or possibly suffocation.
John Serrature, who was the deceased's boyfriend, was arrested and charged with murder. On the afternoon of 29 March, the deceased had arranged to meet John after university lectures. This indicates that John might be the last person that deceased met before she went missing. Apart from that, the presence of fibers on the soles of the deceased boot strengthened the link that John was the actual murderer, as the fiber might be from John's skull. However, John denied and issued an appeal.
John pleaded guilty on ground 1 and 2, which are based on evidence of Bassam Radwan. Mr. Bassam Radwan is John's friend. In his statement, Radwan gave evidence about his conversation between him and John. In the second half of 1994, Ms. Dizon had expressed a wish to terminate her relationship with John, and over that time he had become abusive and violent toward her. Concerning his relationship with Ms. Dizon, John asked Radwan to help him to kill her. John kept trying to persuade Radwan to commit murder. He wanted Radwan to overdose on Ms. Dizon to get her back. John pleaded guilty on ground 1 and 2, which are based on evidence. Based on the ground 3, 4, and 5, the evidence is insufficient to support finding guilt. So the appeal submitted that the case against him required the Crown to prove at least 5 matters without reasonable doubt. The Crown need to prove that the fibers on the deceased's boots are from his car. He had wronged the deceased on the evening of 28 March and made an arrangement to meet her the next day. He left from work early on 29 March, asked Radwan Bassam to kidnap and kill her, and the deceased died on the 29th March. To prove that, expert evidence was used to assist the court. During the examination of the deceased body on 2nd April by detectives in Constable Layton, fibers were found adhering to the soles of the deceased boots. On 5th April 1995, Layton took the evidence for an analytical examination. Forensic examination on the fiber revealed that it matched the fibers of the carpet on the floor of a Honda CRX motor vehicle owned by John.
According to the deceased mother's testimony, the deceased told her on evening 28 March that he had spoken to the appellant on the phone and had planned to meet him on the next day. The purpose of the meeting was for her to return a bag of her personal belongings to the appellant and for her to return the Valentine card he had given her on the Valentine's Day a few weeks earlier. She explained to her mother that they had made the decision to break up due of this intervention. Deceased's sister said that the deceased and the appellant had an argument but then agreed to meet again to exchange their belongings. However, the appellant denied that he met the court in the court. On 29 March, Mr. Abu Ra'ad, the deceased's friend, testified that at 4:10 p.m. before they were parted, the deceased told that she had to visit a sick relative and that she would getting off the bus at either Burwood or Stratford station. Then, on the same day, after ringing the police at 8:30 p.m., Mr. Tizon called the appellant on 10 p.m. She claimed he admitted to her that other than party at 18 February 1995, he had not seen the deceased since the previous December. Naturally, he was lying and Mrs. Tizon did not trust him. The evening of March 39 had yet another peculiar aspect. The Tizon family's phone will frequently ring shortly after the apprehended violent order was issued in November, but if anyone answered other than the deceased, the caller would hang up. This continued until 28 March. The calls were frequent, coming in 5 to 6 times a day after 6 o'clock on weekdays. The source of the call was later identified during the course of murder investigation as being primarily public phone in the Botany region, and the suspect worked in Botany region. It is suspicious as there was no telephone call from the unknown caller on the evening of 39 March or at any time after that day. According to appellant, but on 30 March, he claimed that he departed earlier that day because he was aware that police wanted to speak with him. According to the police document, the interview started at 7 o'clock. The appellant claimed that he had to wait at the police station for around 30 minutes before being interviewed. He claimed that before then, he had gone straight from his work to his house and waited for his sister to death. But whether the appellant left the work early did not have to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. Even if the appellant had left his job at regularly scheduled time, he would have more than enough time to travel from Bethany to Stratfield and meet the deceased after 5:30 p.m., which is the time they would have met and in accordance with the plan claim had been made in previous evening.
The postmortem examination and testimony from Dr. Bottery, who attended the body at the scene, as well as Dr. Levar's entomological testimony, were used by the prosecutor to determine the time of death of the victim. The appellant used its own expert pathology testimony, and more specifically, entomological evidence, to refute the coroner's account of the death on March 29. The appellant's alleged death was crucial for two reasons. Firstly, the appellant had been under police surveillance since 11 a.m. on March 31. If she died on March 31 or April 1st, it was unlikely that appellant was the direct murderer or was there when she was murdered. Second, two witnesses testified that they saw a female in a car on March 31 in two distinct locations. Each witness stated that the female they saw was absent. Those sightings, if they were of the deceased, made it seem likely that the appellant was the direct killer or was present during the crime. According to Dr. Bottery, the death occurred most likely on March 29 or 30. His opinion was based on the nature and extent of the body's decompositional change, as well as the extent of rigor mortis. Dr. Bottery had also found a few maggots on the deceased body while examining her at French Forest. There was just a minor maggot mass to be found. Dr. Bottery extracted two larvae from deceased body during the postmortem and sent them to Dr. Libot for study. Dr. Libot is a senior research scientist in the New South Wales Department of Agriculture with expertise in forensic entomology, specifically blowfly stripe. He said that entomology can provide an estimate of how long a person has been dead, and this statement had been confirmed itself by Dr. Libot. During the analysis, Dr. Libot has identified that the maggot larva was identified as Calliphora agus species flies. All of these cases, experts agree on that identification. The blowfly, Calliphora agar, is a first-strike fly that usually finds a dead body within 4 to 6 hours if the body is being exposed position, one that can be accessed by the blowfly. The female Calliphora agar lays a cluster of about 50 larvae and only deposits larvae during the day. After the first strike, Calliphora agar has laid its larvae. Egg-laying blowflies come. There are two sorts of such blowflies, which are referred to in the evidence as second and third strike blowflies. Based on the sequence in which they come at an exposed body to lay eggs, there was no evidence when such blowflies come after the Calliphora agar has laid its larvae. Dr. Libot believed that the larvae were deposited on the body 24 to 30 hours before the body was removed from the scene. That is on 1st April during the daylight hours, and that this was the shortest amount of time the disease had been dead. Dr. Libot's evaluation was based on the larva existing in ideal condition of 27 degrees Celsius. Dr. Ellis, a forensic pathologist and the director of Westmead's Department of Forensic Medicine, testified in the appellant's case. The absence of maggots on the deceased body was Dr. Ellis' primary basis for choosing 31st March as the probable date of death. He did admit, however, that regardless of the date the body was deposited at French Forest, including his favorite time of death, which is 31st August, he would have expected significant maggot masses on the deceased body. But, however, there were not any. Dr. Botterill and Dr. Libot were also confused that no matter what day the body was deposited at French Forest, there was no major maggot infestation in the hundreds, if not thousands. Dr. Libot has no explanation for the lack of significant infestation. During the course of testimony, one hypothesis was offered that the maggots could have been removed by a predator. Dr. Dador, one of the appellant's entomological experts, ruled out rats as a likely predator, and no other species also were found at the scene. He stated that the absence of maggot cluster or masses was not exceptional. According to Dr. Dador, given the known weather condition from March 29 to April 2nd, the larvae would have been placed 40 to 42 hours before they were collected. However, he believed that from an entomological standpoint, the body could not have been discovered where it was on March 29. His prediction was, on March 31st or April 1st, Dr. Dador further testified that the photographic evidence he reviewed clearly demonstrated the existence of maggot eggs above the deceased's right eyebrow. There was no identification of the egg larva. except that it could not be the lava-laying fly Califora auger. As a result, the eggs could have been laid by a second or third strike fly. The evidence showed that the temperature fluctuated did not meet the optimum condition over the 4 days between the deceased's disappearance and the discovery of her body, though it was close at times. There was signs of secondary or tertiary maggot infestation, implying that the period of death was longer than the numerous entomological specialists suggested. The testimony of a second or third strike fly laying eggs on the body may have been accepted by the jury as supporting Dr. Botterill evidence, or it may have weakened the appellant's case that death occurred 24 to 30 hours before the body was discovered. Whatever the reasoning process was, the evidence on this question was not brittle as the appellant claims.
He found guilty in June 2001 of murdering 20-year-old university student Frances Tizon in March 1995 and will eligible for release on parole in May 2012.